Welcome back to the Janus Project. Please remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you're watching this video. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know any of this. If you've read this book, let me know. If you've been influenced by it. I'm really looking forward to this content that we're about to start putting out. It's on Jordan Peterson, and I've been a fan of Jordan Peterson for a few years now. I came upon him through a Kathy Newman interview where you got to watch it. Maybe I'll do a review on it one of these days. But plenty of other commentators have done it. You just need to go watch it. Jordan Peterson put out a book, Maps of Meaning, way back. I believe it was in '99. And he's been doing lectures. He's a psychologist, so he's been putting his classes online for just a very long time. He's got just years worth of teaching material. He put out Maps of Meaning. That I'm sure it sold some, but it's a denser book. It's a little harder to follow. And Jordan Peterson eventually would start, as he explains in the introduction to his book, he would post a response to a thing on Quora, which I don't know if you're familiar with Quora. I wasn't until I got into this book, and now I check Quora almost every day, and I get some news, and I'm getting weird stories and lockpicking things and just various articles. It's a fascinating website. But as he introduces this topic on Quora, it was basically rules for life, things that you should know, things that you should live by. And he had 40-something of them and then boiled it down. And so he eventually would boil it down to 12 rules for life. And what it is it's an antidote to chaos. And so what he's got 12 rules here, which is an antidote to chaos. And the next 12 rules are really more of an antidote to too much order. And so it's a yin-yang type situation where if you sway too far in either direction, you're really getting in trouble. We need a level of chaos in our lives, but we also need order to kind of bring some of that chaos under control. And so what he's doing in 12 Rules for Life, and if you have not read this book, I would recommend going ahead and doing so. You're about to probably see a lot more of Jordan Peterson. He was out of commission for a while. He got into some issues health-wise, and then his wife got very sick, and there was some medication he was having a hard time getting back off of, and so basically it was almost like a system reset he had to do. Then he got very, very sick. And so he was out of commission pretty much during the whole COVID crisis, and he's just recently started coming back onto the scene. I believe tomorrow, which I'm recording this on March 2nd, I believe tomorrow he's actually, the new book is releasing, but it's coming out within the next few days. And so it'll be a black cover, and it'll fit really well with this. And so this is 12 Rules for Life. The next one is 12 More Rules for Life. And I just want to go through these rules with you, and we'll spend a series here going through some of these rules. Like I said, I think these are rules you should follow. I think these are rules that you should have in your life. I don't agree with everything Jordan Peterson says, and so as we go through this series, I think a Christian perspective on all this would be helpful. Paul Vanderklay is a pastor out here in Sacramento who has done a lot with Jordan Peterson stuff. His videos range from about an hour plus each one, and so if you want a deep dive into these topics, then go check his channel out. So Paul Vanderklay, I'll link it in the description. But I do want to kind of go through these. The first rule here is stand up straight with your shoulders back. This is kind of the, if you know anything about Jordan Peterson, you've seen the lobster illustration. And the idea is a lobster who is confident, who's on top of his game. He's going to have a certain walk to him, a certain chemical balance to him. And it breeds success. There's a level of confidence. There's a level of put togetherness. And so that's rule number one. Rule number two, treat yourself like treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. And so what he's noticed is there is a tendency with people to treat others really well, but treat themselves badly. And so you would, I mean, even to the extent of your dog, you wouldn't forget to give your dog medication. You almost think your dog deserves better. But you know yourself, and you're kind of down on yourself, and so you'll skip some of your own meds. And so he's noticed this even with people who have had organ transplants, and you think about the luck of the lottery that is required to get an organ transplant. And yet some people won't take their meds that will keep the organ functioning. And so he says, treat yourself like someone who you are responsible for helping. Next one, make friends with people who want the best for you. That is so deep right there. I work with teenagers for a living. I work with college students for a living. And you see these guys get around people who want to use them, who want to take advantage of them, who don't really want what's best for them. And so there is a level of get around people who are going to build you up, not people who are going to tear you down. Another one here, compare yourself with who you were yesterday, not with who someone else is today. This is the social media mindset where I'm looking at the best of someone else's life and comparing it to the worst of mine. Compare yourself to yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. And what's really neat is Jordan Peterson's not a Christian, not in the classical like saved by grace sense. All right, he's got a lot of Christianese to him. He's got a lot of spiritual talk. He uses the Bible a whole lot, but not quite like a Christian would. But the fact is, there are just truths that are borne out in Scripture, and they're just truth no matter what. And so that's what I really like about some of what he has to say. They're just truth. They match up with Scripture. Next one here, don't let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Just some practical parenting tips there. That's chapter 5, rule 5. I've actually been listening through the book again. I listened to it a few years ago, and I'm re-listening through it. It's just good. He gives some practical parenting advice on how to deal with temperamental 2 or 3 year olds, and just this idea of you need to socialize kids, because if you don't socialize your children by about age 4, they're just not going to get socialized. And an unsocialized child is not a joy to be around, is an absolute terror. It's just not pleasant for anyone involved. Continuing, set your house, rule number 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And so there's a level of nihilism that's present in the world today. There's a level of my life is a mess, but I'm going to take it upon myself to tell you how to live your life. That's not how it should work. I like to think of these celebrities who they don't know how to keep a marriage together. They don't know how to do anything, and they're talking about how to run the world. They don't know anything. They're senseless, and they're mostly useless. And so there's a level of setting your house in order before you go on a criticism rampage. Next one, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. I'm just going to fly through the rest of these, and we'll take some time to go through these as we go through this video series. Rule number 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. And so there's a level of telling the truth to yourself, being an honest person, but at least not living in a lie. Rule number 9, assume that the person you are listening to might know something that you don't. Just like, again, we'll unpack it, but this is stuff that I live. There are students of mine, there are people who I teach and people who I work with, and there's a level of truth here that don't interrupt someone because you think that you know where they're going. Just let them speak. Assume they might be able to teach you something. Rule number 10, be precise in your speech. A lot of people don't accomplish anything. They don't even know when they've arrived because they didn't know what they were aiming at. They didn't know where they were going. They were very imprecise. They're nebulous. Basically, they can believe anything, go anywhere, do anything because they just don't know. They don't know what they're living for. Rule number 11, don't bother children when they're skateboarding. Let people take risks. It's not the point of this chapter, but I think one of the most powerful illustrations that he gets in this chapter is sometimes you just got to judge people based on what they're doing rather than their assumed motives. We can ascribe all the motives we want to people, but if their actions are evil, it doesn't matter whether they're doing them for good or bad. I know that wasn't the point of the chapter, but that's one of the illustrations he gets into. He talks about just the uglifying of things to prevent people from skateboarding on them. And it's just this idea of maybe it's time we start judging people based on what they do rather than what they're saying they're doing it for. And then the final rule is rule number 12, which is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. And he gets into another aspect there. And so these are the 12 rules for life. And this is something we're going to spend a little bit of time digging into over the coming weeks. And I got a lot of plans for the channel in the upcoming weeks and months. And so we'll see how quickly we get through it. I've been wanting to do some stuff on Jordan Peterson for a while. So I figured it is finally time to do it. And so Lord willing, we'll get into that. Guys, if you like this material, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below. What that comment is going to do is that's going to boost the algorithm for this channel. And I'd like to grow beyond 46 subscribers. And so I'd like your help. And so if you've been watching these videos, if you enjoy these videos, go through those. Just give a like It just helps out, lets me know that people are watching, and just leave a comment. Even if it's just like, hey, good stuff, or I didn't like this, or hey, what do you think about this? Just leave a comment. It helps so much. And I try to interact with every single comment, even the trolls. I interact with you guys. I appreciate you. I'm not scared of you. I like your stuff. And so I'm going to ask you guys, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment below, and share this video with someone. And thank you for joining in. This has been the Janus Project, and I will see you guys later.